be talking to our awesome co-founder and Chief Growth Officer, Maia, today about just employee wellness and what exactly that means. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to me about it.
No worries, Parker. This is one of my favorite topics, so I'm super excited to dive in.
Yeah. Sweet. Can you just start by giving a really quick and brief overview of what employee wellness is? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who've seen the term thrown around.
Yeah, employee wellness. So employee wellness is basically everything having to do with your workforce's well-being. So supportive services, whether or not those be, on campus or, like in building, whatever you want to call it, food resources, all the way, and credits, all the way to, your financial benefits. So they can be as, it can be as broad stroking as your 401k plan and opt-out approach. Like I said, to, if you repay employees for buying a Peloton, things like that.
Yeah, that is a lot. We talk when we talk about like employee well-being and employee wellness at Navit, we pivot often to like speaking about it holistically, like as just like you said, it's not just like one of those, and we tend to define it as like the broad. What do you think the importance, especially for employers, is in looking at it holistically as mental and financial?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of the maybe best used terms in wellness are within the categories of mental health, physical health, emotional health, and now kind of more and more financial health. And so this idea of holistic well-being for the employers, that they're taking all of those pillars into account, providing resources for all of them, and the return, for lack of a better term, that the employer gets is not just a healthier workforce, which is certainly a return, but also one that's more productive, one that's more happier to show up to work every day, one that feels that their employer and their company that they're working so hard for every day really cares and supports both them. And I think because it's overall health, it's not just supporting them, it's really supporting who they are as a human being, how they interact with their family, the health of their family. I actually really believe that, employee well-being might start at work, but good well-being programs certainly transcend into the home, and can frankly build up a whole new population of, or a healthier population of the next generation of workforce. And I think that that's really where well-being, employee well-being, and certainly financial employee well-being is moving toward.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And especially as we pivot now to a time where a lot of people are literally doing work in their home, or right, like sitting at their desk with their family in the background, all of that. Why do you think it's especially important for employees to be thinking about these things, or employers, but also employees?
I mean, I think it's so important. So is it why is it important for employers or employees to be?
Either, but just now. Like, why is it important that people think about this now?
I think you hit the nail on the head that we're like coming into this approach of a hybrid model where you're bringing work home with you. And yet, because of social media, by and large, we have to have a huge focus on this work-life balance that's like a made up thing. You're a college student, I can tell you it's made up. Don't believe the hype, it's made up. It's not about a balance. It's about, like, frankly, being okay that sometimes your work might come home with you if it's in a constructive way, that you hopefully love what you do. And not everybody is going to have the opportunity to always love what they do. But I think employers, no matter what, kind of level of employee you might be, if you're an entry level or up until an exec, like, you should feel, again, that support. You should feel supported. And, it seems especially important now that we know the workforce, 90% of the workforce at the height of COVID was financially stressed, and that was impacting their productivity. It's something like 45%, think about their money while at work, right? Well, that's not just to say, certainly people are thinking about their money, but that's just them thinking about their money. Think about those other pillars that they're probably also stressing about if you don't have a plan in place that helps them feel like they're taken care of. This is like the concept of the pension plan out of the gate. And I think speaking to that, especially now, the workforce has never been more unstable, not just because we just went through a pandemic, certainly that's a contributing factor, but for more simple reasons, like the fact that we don't have pensions anymore, right? We have 401k, most of them are opt-ins, they're not opt-out plans, which means that employees, for better or worse, have more choice. But because they have more choice, by and large, a lot of them will feel conflicted. They're making these challenging financial trade-offs. They don't know if they should, max out their 401k or, look for an alternative means of growing wealth or paying down more student debt. They're also graduating with more student debt and more high interest debt. Like, we have so many more things to think about now as the 21st century consumer than any of the last generations had, and there are more of us. And I think those, all of that really does compound into a highly stressed, highly distracted workforce that has to be left to the employer to tackle.
Yeah. This is great. This is a great introduction to, I think, a lot of things we talk about and are going to talk about. So I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Absolutely.